following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Sitting down and designing, where every man in my thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me, big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy, big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your one I wanna be, Jimmy Star's new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Star's.
Hey ho, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. We have a fun show for you guys today. It's going to be a good time. Before we get started and tell you about it, let's say hi to our cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Mr. Ron Russell.
Yes, as you all know from weeks prior, I had my knee done and the pain was awful, and I was not permitted to take painkillers because of this thing that happens to old people where we flip out and we go into imaginary worlds. Excuse me. I was kidnapped by aliens in the hospital. Anyway, weeks and weeks of suffering without a painkiller. I said to Jimmy, screw it. Give me a half of morphine. I don't give a shit if I go back to the moon or Mars. I don't care. So I took a half of morphine last night, and I speed dialed Sophia Loren, and I had the most wonderful conversation with Sophia Loren for hours. We spoke, and we had a good time. I don't know Sophia Loren. I don't have her phone number, and I couldn't possibly have called her. It's my fantasy. So I thought, if this is the only fantasy I have when I take my morphine pill, I'll take another one tonight. You know, maybe that I could talk to Joan Collins or somebody else. So it's really amazing how the mind does things that we just don't understand. Why that pill puts me in a situation where I really believe. I mean, I believe I spoke to Sophia Loren. I could tell you what she was wearing, what she looked like. She was maybe about 65 years old at the time. Beautiful. It's just beyond me what happens. What is it called again?
Morphine?
No, what is my problem called?
Oh, well, that's from the end. Post-operative delirium.
Post-operative delirium. Sounds strange. I have so many people calling me, wanting to talk to me. That's not possible, because when I'm not working, when I'm not me, I'm not me, if you understand that. I don't speak to people anymore. I can't. There's no conversations that hold me. No matter what you talk about, I want to hang up on you. I don't know what that is all about.
Well, the fact that you're in pain and...
Well, I don't know what it is, but I mean, I interview people. So, you know, I've interviewed people for most of my life. So I'm used to that. I'm used to talking to people. Conversation is my life. But now I don't want conversation with anybody.
That'll go away when you're feeling better.
But my very best friends in New York and California, I mean, dear people, they're dear to me. And I can't say to them, fuck off.
No,
but that's what I want to say. That's what I want to say. Don't call me. I'm not interested in hearing your bullshit. I'm not. You know, when I'm normal, when I'm not in this predicament, I listen to people's problems. They talk about their health, their kids, their this and that. You know, we all discuss problems. Lives. But right now, I am not in the mood. So don't call me to tell me about your hospital stays or your tits fell off or your son ran off with a homosexual. I mean, I don't want to hear it.
Anyway, he's doing much better, you guys. I'm doing well. Thanks, everybody. I had my knee manipulated Thursday. The most unbelievable pain that you can ever imagine. and I saw a video of it on YouTube after I had it done, which I'm glad I didn't see the video where you actually hear, everything ripping and everything. And so I'm glad I didn't watch it ahead of time. And
a knee is a knee, and what credence do we give a knee? We don't even know they're there. We take them for granted.
I don't take mine for granted.
If you play with the knee surgically, you will pay. You will pay in the end because it's torture. It is the most horrific, horrible pain I have ever had. And I certainly will never do the other leg. The other leg could fall off for all I care.
Yeah, I won't be doing mine either.
Huh?
The one I got done.
Oh, I'm never doing this
decent.
shit again. What, you think I'm going to go through these visits with the moon, the Martians, and Sophia Loren? No.
If they were only Sophia Loren dreams, it might be okay.
I woke up, Jimmy, and I wasn't sure if I really had the call or if I was dreaming. That's the funny part about this drug. You can't divide reality from. I never did drugs, folks. I swear on my kids, never did drugs in my life, never, because I never wanted to be not in control. So I don't know how to be in control on drugs. Some people do. I know people, close relatives, that could take the atom bomb and they could function. Me, I would be dead for months.
Anyway, lots of fun stuff going on. We're going to have a lot of announcements coming on soon. Lots of great film stuff going on. We're going to be very busy in the next 15 months, it looks like. Maybe up to 5 movies we're going to shoot in the next 15 months. So things are going really good. And we have a great guest for you guys today. So we have the founder of E! Entertainment Television, Larry Namer, coming on, who just wrote a brand new book. And after that, we have the founder of Indie Music TV, Christopher Patty, coming on. Both will be coming on in a little bit. Larry's coming on first. And before we do that, let's do a couple other things we do. Let's say hi to the chat room. What's up, chat room? It's starting to fill up. Lady Lake, thanks for everything. Stefan, I hope you're doing well. B. Claudia can't join us today. She said she's going to listen to the replay because she's doing something in Germany. I forgot what the heck she said she was doing. And we want to tell everybody you can listen to us on all our different platforms. We're on Podbean, which we might be changing soon anyway. Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, TuneIn, Amazon Prime, and 360 TVN. Those are the main different sources that you can listen or watch the show. And obviously, we're on YouTube Live, and the replay goes out as soon as the show is over. We upload it to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell YouTube channel. I want to say congratulations to the horror world. Final Destination came out over the weekend. It broke $100 million. It did really, really good. There's a tribute in it at the end, a tribute for Tony Todd, who was a friend of the show. He was on the show many times, and Ron and I knew him.
He's a nice guy. I like Tony.
And so there's a very nice tribute in it at the end, that he does. And I'm just glad that the horror community came out and supported the film in general, because $100 million is a lot of money, to do.
And the industry has lost quite a few good people over the last 6 months. We lost the Tomato. And now
we lost the Tomato. We just lost Michael Mahal.
Michael Mahal has passed away.
The Mahal brothers. They're the biggest crowdfunding people like in the history on Indiegogo. And
I really enjoyed some of their movies. I thought there was quality in their work. And I kept telling Michael over and over again, Michael, all you need is $40 million and you will get an Academy Award because you have that talent. And I believed in Michael. Michael had an eye for what's right and what's wrong. He was good. And I liked Michael a lot. And I will miss seeing him at the red carpets. So, Michael, rest in peace, my friend. Travel well. You're in good company.
Absolutely. He was such a cool guy. And it's all over Facebook. It's all over everywhere. And
everybody's upset about it in the industry.
Yeah, it's very sad. What else happened to us? Anything else interesting? We didn't do a whole lot because Ron's still recuperating from his knee, getting better every day, and I was.
And they broke his now, so the two crippled.
Yeah, we're both like
my
crippled.
Poor daughter Leslie. She's like Nurse Ratched. She runs back and forth from the kitchen to the bedroom. Can I get you guys anything? It's Jimmy and I laying there with our legs hanging out. I mean, it's a joke,
It's been terrible.
compared to who we normally are on red carpets, running all over. Jimmy and I, we travel, and now here we are, held up in bed with our legs, and every time I know he's going to have an attack, he grabs my hand and squeezes it, and I hear Jimmy, ah! And then when I'm going to have a Charlie horse pain, I grab his hand and go, ah!
It's
So
unbelievable.
the two of us sound like elephants or rhinos mating.
And I'm not walking around. I gained 7 pounds, so I don't want to like gain weight because
I wish I
can't walk around.
gained 7. I lost 20 pounds and I look like shit. I want my 20 pounds back.
We also want to give a shout out to Marcel Waltz. It was his birthday, I think, yesterday. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Director of Blind and Pretty Boy, which is coming out next week for the public to be able to see, which is the sequel to Blind. And Blind is right now on Tubi and a bunch of different platforms, so you guys should check
And
it out. So you
please
see
watch
Pretty
it.
Boy next week. Blind is great.
I don't carry on about a movie much because I'm not a fan of a lot of the crap that we make. But this is a quality movie. This is a movie that was done so well. This is a movie where Sarah French showed that you don't have to do much to act. In horror movies, I find the directors don't tell the actors less is better. All horror movies, they're hysterical, they're screaming, they're yelling, they're out of control. When they're out of control, they're out of focus, they're out of lighting, they're out of everything, and it looks corny and cheesy and shitty. You must be in control when you're working. When you're in a movie, you must know the lighting, the marks, and the dialogue. You have to know all of that. And you don't have time to go hysterical, screaming for 10 minutes with your tits out. Of course, your tits have to be out. I've never seen a horror woman scream yet without her tits bouncing. They love it. They paid $3,000 for those tits. And I guess they're going to get their money back because if you show your tits in a movie, you get $500 extra.
The bump. They call it a bump.
What?
They call it a bump.
Yeah, they call it a bump. And that's how you pay for your tits. So you see, my friends, we have a lot to learn yet in this horror demeanor.
I love it. And we're going to have Red River getting going soon.
Red River, I really believe.
There's no tits in Red River.
Huh?
We don't have any tits in Red River.
I believe Red River is going to be a quality movie. That's why I'm cameoing in it. Jennifer loves me, and she says, Ron, you've got to put that handsome face in my movie. I thought, handsome? Well, I don't have a handsome, but I'll put my face in the movie. I would do anything for Jen. I love Jen. And I will be in that movie in a cameo role, short, playing a scientist. But if I didn't think the movie was a good script and if it were not going to be done well, I wouldn't be in it. I'm not going to cameo myself in a movie that's a piece of shit.
Also, you guys, they're finishing Clown Motel 3 next week in Las Vegas. They're shooting the final scenes, so they're going to have a premiere for that, I think, in August, right? Clown Motel 3?
August 23rd, if I'm not mistaken.
Sometime in August, so it'll be fun to
in
see.
Vegas?
I'm sure it'll be in LA. I hope it's going to be in
I
LA.
hope it's in LA. I don't feel like schlepping in Vegas.
Anyway, so that's what's going on, you guys. We got some great guests. We're going to go ahead and bring our first guest on now. So let's bring him in, Juan.
Hi.
Hey, Larry, how you doing?
There he is.
Look at that. See, we both got the big glasses.
There he
There you
is.
go.
There he is.
All right, everybody. Now that we know we can hear you, we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, you guys, founder of E! Entertainment TV Networks, now author of a new book, which we're going to talk about. Larry Namer, hello, and welcome to the show.
Great. Thanks for having me here, guys.
It's a long time. We haven't seen you in a long time. You already know Ron, so I don't have to introduce him.
Larry is my hero. Larry knows the story that's coming up. I have a photograph of a chick, a woman, that he brought to Sue Wong's party that I have never gotten over yet, and I'm gay. This woman had ass, tits, face, hair, legs, fingers, toes, nipples, everything magnificent. I have never to date seen a woman as sexy and as beautiful, and she was all over Larry. So I
Hey,
said
you
to
know,
myself,
Good.
I said, either he's got an 11-inch dick or a lot of money. But there's something about him that this girl's crazy about. Whatever happened to her, Larry?
He doesn't know which one you're talking about because there's so many of them.
I do because I remember his reaction to her. She's actually living in Hawaii now, and stuff. But you know, I liken it not to the money or anything else. I think it's my Brooklyn charm that attracts them. But
There you go.
She was I mean, you got to admit, she was something else.
And they're both from
He was-
Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm from
Yeah,
Larry's a Jew from Brooklyn like me. But
Yeah, and,
she was something else, that chick. Holy shit. I'm gay and I got upset. Could you imagine?
she was actually the gal. She was in Pirates of the Caribbean, and she was the one, if you remember the scandal where Johnny Depp got caught cheating on his wife.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
she
yeah.
was
I didn't pay attention because you're always with pretty women anytime we ever see you. And actually, the very first time we met you, you probably won't even remember. We were at one of the very first red carpets when we moved here from the East Coast. It was an info list party, and it was where Grauman's Chinese Theater, like in a building upstairs. And we were in the VIP room talking to Adrian Wilkinson from whatever that show, Lucy Lawless or whatever,
right.
and Xena Ward. And you walked in, and she started talking to you, and then all the women in the room, all the beautiful women were in the VIP room, and all of them came running over to talk to you. And I was like, who is this guy?
I think that Larry has good PR. And I think he's told his PR people to squeeze out a rumor that he's hung like a monkey and that he's the best thing in bed that a woman will ever have. And they sort of spread that around Hollywood, So everybody talks. So when the women look at him, they say, oh, I heard he's hung like a horse and he's the best ball you'll ever have. And the women say, oh, really? I got to find out. So I think you're very underhanded.
I wish it was that easy. It's kind of funny that you mentioned the PR thing because I've had the same PR person for 30 years now, and she cracks up laughing because I pay her to keep me out of the press. She goes, everybody pays me because of the magazine cover. You pay me to make sure you never get a magazine cover.
Right. But you are every time I see you, you're with another phenomenal woman. Where do you find them? We just walk around looking for them in the mall or something and say, hey, you want to come with me?
Pretty much that's it. Yeah.
It's amazing how you have like magnetism.
All right, so
I mean, let's face it, you're no great beauty. You're not Robert Redford.
Robert Redford's not a great beauty.
No, he's no longer a great beauty.
I think you're trying. I love the glasses.
You're a good-looking guy, but I wouldn't go crazy over you. So you got something that I got to find out what it is. Meanwhile, I love your posts. I always like them. The stuffed artichokes, were they not delicious?
It's amazing, and it's funny because, last year I planted 2 artichoke plants and I got 1 artichoke on each plant. So I had 2 artichokes for the whole season. So I said, this year I'm going to plant 5 plants. So for whatever reason, each plant now has 5 artichokes on it. So I got 5 plants and 25 artichokes. And I'm like looking for new recipes because I can't eat the stuffed ones every night.
Well, he put a recipe up. I mean, I know I've had artichokes all my life. It's an Italian thing. But the best artichokes come from Africa. If you can get African artichokes, you got some really good artichokes. And if you stuff them correctly and do it correctly where they're not too dry or too oily, you've got a meal, man, that is out of this world, right? Oh,
Yeah,
I love artichokes.
So for people,
Wait a minute.
wait, because for people who don't even know what you're talking about, so you guys, Larry Namer, he's on social media, but he's on his Facebook page every day. He posts whatever he cooks,
Whatever he eats.
and it's always very gourmet looking, and it looks
And
delicious.
sometimes you want to vomit. Because we eat some of the weirdest shit there is out there. I mean, some of your stuff is weird. I wouldn't eat it. You have to admit, you go for the really super gourmet. You're into the super duper gourmet.
I'm obsessed with the cooking, that's for sure.
I mean, I love all your.
So actually, though, why did you start? Have you always cooked? Because when we first met you, you were heavier, and then you lost a lot of weight, which somehow I attributed to your
going
cooking.
out with all those women, you lose weight.
I attributed it to your cooking.
I attribute
Well,
it to me.
I started cooking when I was 12 because I grew up in Brooklyn, and Ron knows where the neighborhood I grew up in. It was kind of the hood, still is the hood, actually, Coney Island. And both my mother and father worked, and I was 12 years old, so my choice was either learn how to cook or eat peanut butter and jelly for dinner every night.
Yes.
And so I started cooking, and I liked it, and then I realized I was good at it. I was a much better cook than my mom was. So I just started taking over the cooking for the family, and and then I would just buy books and learn. And then when I got in college, by total chance, I ended up with a job in a Chinese restaurant, in the kitchen, and then after 2 years, I moved to an Italian restaurant in Lower Manhattan and cooked Italian for 2 years. So I kind of, once you learn the basics of cooking anything, it's very easy to start to pick up all the new stuff.
I love it. I love it. I wouldn't eat a lot of the stuff you eat just because I'm total American, meat and potatoes and
Well,
that.
I've had some experiences. Up at Sue Wong's house, I was in the kitchen with Sue, and I had my little dog with me. And she walked by and she said, in China, we ate them. And I almost died.
That little dog that I just showed him.
My little dog, my little Astro, I almost died. I wanted to either vomit or hit her. I don't know what I wanted to do. But what and she meant it. China, we eat them.
Yeah. Well, there is a place there's one area of China where they still do eat everything, including the dogs and stuff. But it's really more of a Korean thing than it is a Chinese thing, other than just some small areas in China.
I don't know how people could eat a dog.
So you grew up in Coney Island.
Yep.
And then I kind of loosely read a bunch of biographies of you online just to get an idea. I kind of knew a lot of it already, but basically,
remember Steeplechase?
What's Steeplechase?
Oh, of course.
Did you love it? I love Steeple. My heart used to beat so hard when I saw that man smiling, the Steeplechase guy, because I knew in 2 minutes we'd be on the rides.
So here, I'll give you a little bit of trivia, Ron. So the face on Steeplechase it's a guy named George C. Tillieu, and he was the one who started Steeplechase. You may remember the Tillieu movie theater in Coney Island, which is one of the big grand theaters. But I always loved the place, and I ended up hiring an artist to look at the picture that was on Steeplechase and then paint an original painting of that face. And then I registered the face. So I actually own that face now.
Oh, isn't that interesting? What are you going to do with it?
I used it. I had a company that was doing a lot of, we were the big consultants to Microsoft. So we had to set up a separate company. So we named the company Steeplechase Media. And the face was the logo of the company. And, people would say to me, they go, Larry, why are you using such an ugly face? And, I said, you don't get it. I said,
frightening more than ugly. What was your favorite ride in Coney Island? What was your favorite ride?
Probably maybe the Thunderbolt or the Cyclone.
I can't do any of them.
The what?
The Thunderbolt or the Cyclone.
No way.
I get sick, so I can't do anything.
I went on the Cyclone once, and I wished I was dead.
Did you go to Coney Island a lot when you were little?
What Jew from Brooklyn doesn't live there? Are you kidding? Well, where do you think we ate? We had the best knish, the best everything. You can't beat a Nathan's all Hebrew or Hebrew National. Are you out of your mind? But they don't make it like that. I don't know what they did to the sauerkraut. They peed in it or something. But that sauerkraut was never today have I ever had sauerkraut like the sauerkraut in Coney Island.
Yeah, no, it's a great. It's now a little more of a fast food place. But hot dogs and the French fries are still the same. They're amazing.
So I love it. So wait, you worked as a chef. Did you work as a chef the same time as you worked as a cable splicer?
No, I when I was in college, I took a job. I mean, kind of a thing. I took a job in delivering food for a Chinese restaurant in Brooklyn, And to do that, everybody, particularly week you order and you get takeout. And so I work in the kitchen, but because I love to cook, I would always ask the chefs to teach me how to cook this and teach me how to cook that. And they just got the biggest kick out of teaching a Caucasian kid how to cook Chinese food. And, and they saw that I was pretty good at it and diligent. And then they were having a big Chinese New Year party, and it was February, and there was a snowstorm, and 3 of the chefs couldn't make it into work. And the head chef just looked at me and went, hey, you got to cook. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And so I ended up cooking in a Chinese restaurant for 2 years. And then I said, okay, I kind of got this. So I found an Italian restaurant down by Wall Street area, and I took a job cooking in Italian for 2 years. And then I got out of college. I ended up getting a job as a cable splicer, as an assistant cable splicer.
In the sewers, it said online, in the sewers under Manhattan or something. That's a big jump. Then, I mean, good for you. Congratulations to go from the sewer to like E! Entertainment Television. Wait, I'm talking.
I know you're talking, but you're going away from where we are.
No, I'm not.
There you are. Here, I want to bring it back to where we should be. For those of you out there who don't know who this man is, let him introduce his credentials. Larry?
Sure. Probably in this country, I'm better known as the founder of E! So, E! is still the only TV network on a global scale that's been started by a person as opposed to a big media company. I mean, most TV networks are started by Fox or Disney or somebody like that, but E! was actually started by me and my friend Alan from New Jersey. And to this day, it still remains the only TV network started by people as opposed to media companies. And, we started with very little money compared to what was needed. And, but it grew, and it grew in amounts. So we started the company with 11 employees and 31 interns. And in 2 years, we were up to 1,100 employees, which is kind of nuts. Growth curve there. E! is in 142 countries now. Valuation is somewhere around 7 billion, 7 billion subs, plus, and arguably the biggest influencer of pop culture in the world. I mean, all you got to do is look at what we did for Howard Stern and Seacrest and the Kardashians, and those are all our stars.
So, little Jew boy from Coney Island, look where he went, look what he's obtained, and look what he's created. My hat's off to you.
Yeah, thank you. And then, well, I was still at E! I fell in love with doing stuff foreign, so I started a media company in Russia. And we started a big charitable concert festival there called the White Nights Festival, where we raised 100% of the budget for the Children's Hospital and the orphanage, which obviously that doesn't exist anymore with the war going on.
Right.
And I had the #1 TV show, and I figured they have enough troubles. I'd give them soap operas, take their mind off their troubles. We had a big TV show there for almost 11 years, 10 plus years, 5 nights a week. It was the #1 TV show. It was crazy popular. And I kind of went off and found China, and I started doing stuff in China. And we still, to this day, I think we're still the only American company they let operate as a media company in China. And we produce only stuff in China for China, in Mandarin language, which is kind of a trick, producing stuff in a language you don't necessarily speak. But we've done quite well, and we've gone into that market for quite a while.
So let's also so go back to E! Entertainment Television. So for anybody listening, and I don't know anybody
If you
who
don't
doesn't
know what
watch
E!
it,
is,
but you guys, that's the Howard Stern show. Fashion Police was on there. Talk Soup, the Kardashians. I mean, those are like the Kardashians. Even though I've never seen one of their shows, I know it's like a huge, it's a huge deal, and they got hundreds of millions of followers in social media. So it's a big deal. I also wrote that you basically also did something with Greg Kinnear. What did Greg Kinnear do?
Greg Kinnear was the first host that was ever on the air on E! When we went on. He was the one who opened up the channel, and then Greg was the first host of Talk Soup.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't actually know that because he's such a big actor. So I just didn't really, I didn't associate the two together. That's cool.
Why?
We were the first job that Greg ever got in showbiz. Greg was it was funny because he was a marketing assistant for a budget monster movie company in Hollywood, and I was pitching that company to advertise. And I was meeting one day, and his boss didn't show up, so I had to talk to him. And he kept just going, "Oh, this is really good. I want to be a host." And I'm like, "Yeah. Of course, everybody wants to be a host." But he, I gave him the woman's name who was doing the auditions, and he went for his audition. And and I just told him and Eileen, I said, "Look, this guy's coming in. I'm trying to sell advertising to his company." I said, if I don't care if you even have film in the camera. Just be nice to him. And he came in, and she was. People don't realize, because they say, "Oh, you were so lucky you had all those great hosts." I mean, we had Greg Kinnear, and Julie Moran went on to do Entertainment Tonight, and Wagner went on to do Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and Mark DiCarlo went on to do Studs, and on and on and on. So people say you were lucky to get those hosts, but they don't realize, because we had no money, we realized that the most important thing we could do is pick the hosts, so that you either love them or, but you had to feel something. So to get the first 5 hosts, we put 7,200 people on tape.
Wow.
And so when Greg came in for his interview, Eileen kept coming in and saying, "Larry, the guy wants to say hello to you." And I'm going, "Eileen, I'm trying to figure out how to make payroll on Friday." And she comes in, she says, "Well, he's really insisting that he comes and say hello." And I'm like, "Eileen, get out of my office. I can't deal with it now." And then finally she just came in and said, "Look, you got to come in the studio." And by this time we had over 5,000 people on tape, and we hadn't had one host yet that we liked. And I just went in the studio, and she cued Greg, and I just looked up and went, "Holy shit."
Sure.
The kid he lit up the camera. And I just looked at Eileen and I said, "Hire that one." And I walked out. And then Greg was the first hire.
We froze. There we go.
There you
Okay.
go.
So I love it. Okay. So
Now let's talk about your book.
Sure.
tell
People have been
the
asking
title
me.
of the book. Tell them the title first.
The title of the book is called Off Script Recipes for Success, and Never Follow the Crowd. And it really is, people have been after to kind of do my memoir thing for quite a while. And I've always refused to do it. And I said, "You know what? I don't want to do it because I'm not ready to write the last chapter yet. I'm still going. I think my best stuff is still ahead of me." And so I refused. But then 15 months ago, my daughter had a baby.
Yes,
And so now I've got a little grandbaby.
Oh, she's beautiful. God bless her, beautiful girl.
Boy, it's a boy, isn't
A
it?
boy.
Boy,
I think
yeah,
your daughter's a
Yeah.
beautiful girl.
Yeah.
That's what.
And so, my kids, I've got 3, and my older 2 live out here in California, and my son is like his mom. His mom. He's we're not together, but 12 years of Catholic school, never told a lie, and John is exactly like his mom. My daughter, on the other hand, is more like me. She's a little wise ass that's kind of got it all figured out. So I said, the last thing in the world I want is for my grandkid to learn about me from my daughter. So I said, I'm going to write a book so he could read it himself. So that was kind of what was behind the book. But the thing that's unusual about the book, you can break my life up into like 8 different segments. Growing up in Brooklyn years, my Manhattan years, my Los Angeles cable years, my E years, my Russia years, my China years, and so I wrote was little anecdotes, stories that happened during each of those phases, matched with the recipes that inspired me. So the book is between a memoir and a cookbook.
Oh, so when it says recipes for success, it's recipes for success with actual recipes.
Oh yeah,
with recipes and stories. Yeah.
Oh, that's very clever though, because people don't do that.
You don't follow him on Facebook.
I do, but I don't like. I only see his stuff once in a while.
No, I look at everything. Like I said, sometimes I'm drooling. I want to eat it, and sometimes I say, "Oh, Larry, how can you eat that?" a spider or whatever it was. Some weird shit. But
Yeah.
I follow Larry all the time. Well, you know I follow you, Larry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, the
I-
one that people love
And the rest that,
Oh, hang on. Go ahead.
there were just a lot of stories that I put in there because I wanted to keep some of my friends, so I didn't want to kill them in the book. But one of the stories that people love the most, and which I felt okay to tell them because was the story about how we first met O.J. Simpson, and O.J. passed away, so I felt that I could do it. It's a very funny story because my partner Alan went out with an actress in Hollywood who just so ended up being O.J.'s mistress. And they found out and got very upset and was threatened to beat Alan up with a baseball bat. And so anyway, I called him up, and a kid, I could just call him up and say, listen, you're going to beat him, I'm going to beat you. We go through the whole, thing. And then finally we realized that Alan and I are actually, excuse me, friends with Blake Olson, whose dad was the chairman of Hertz, and that was OJ's big client. OJ was doing those ads and running through the airports. And so when OJ found out that we knew Blake, he all of a sudden got very apologetic and going, no, let's forget about that girl, and let's have lunch. So in the book, I have the story about how Alan and I first met OJ, and it's matched with the recipe of what I ate at the lunch. We ate at La Scala Boutique in Beverly Hills, and I have the recipe for the salad that I ate.
And you put it in the book.
So it's
And
in the
that's
book.
in the book.
And you
So the
won't get in
story
trouble. You won't get in trouble for writing the they have people have was it, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for?
Trademark?
Trademarks on recipes. Did you know that? Certain people, like movie stars, if they have a recipe, they have a trademark. You can't duplicate it.
Well, this is from the Scholar in Beverly Hills, and
Yeah, but you know how nitpicky they could get in Beverly Hills, please.
yeah.
So how big is the book? How thick is the book? How many pages?
It's like 160 pages or so.
Oh, yeah, that's good reading. Yeah,
And it's
more than that is enough. Now,
yeah, and
Larry,
it's very
did you
it
write?
hit the bestseller list.
I hope you
Go
wrote
ahead,
it.
let him
I'm sorry.
finish. Go ahead. Hit the bestseller list. It's on Amazon too, guys. The name of the book again is Off Script: Recipes for Success by Larry J. Namer. If you're looking for it on Amazon, just to make sure. I know it's on Amazon. It's probably other places. 160 pages, which is a perfect length because it's not too big that people.
Yeah, it's fair. It's airplane reading, I call it. I hope you
Yeah.
wrote about the early days in Brooklyn, the sweet
I did.
days of us living in the street, how we
Yeah.
didn't need computers and we didn't need video games. All we needed was a can and a string or a
Yeah,
bat
and-
and a ball, and we were happy people. The sweetest
Yeah.
days of my life were in the streets of Brooklyn.
Yeah, and when particularly in the summer, you used to go out at 8:00 in the morning to play with your friends, and your mother would call you home at 7:00 at night to come home for dinner, and you just played with your friends all day long and played punch ball in the street and stuff. And you're lucky if we didn't get hit by a car. And
Remember
Yeah,
crackers
all
on a curb? Crackers on a curb?
yeah, oh yeah,
I love it. That was my favorite. But my mother would say, "Come home when the street lights go on,"
yeah,
That's what we had to
Yep.
do.
and
too,
that's
but
what we
at
did.
different
The
times,
minute
right?
those street lights went on, gotta go home.
So I read
Yeah.
before you started ETV that you something happened with the cable company, but you didn't want to move back to New York because you didn't want to go back to the winter. So you don't like the winter and the snow.
Yeah. Yes.
the company that brought me out to California was a Canadian company. They were from Toronto, and because I worked in Manhattan cable system had to be built all under the streets. But when big cities began to franchise cable, they didn't want the wires to go on telephone poles because it's unsightly. So they all wanted it to go underground. Well, I was like the only one around who knew how you build underground cable systems. So I got recruited to them to come out to LA, and I didn't want the job. I was like telling them, I go, look, I'll come out there and do the interview and have a vacation, but there's no way I'm taking the job. So I was just like being an ass. And after the interview, the guy said, well, what would it take for you to move out here? So I named like 4 times what I make in New York. And it was just at that time, it's a funny story, Liberace had moved from LA to Las Vegas, and his house was up for rent. I said, I want you to rent Liberace's house for me, and I want a car with a mobile phone. And they said, you're out of your mind. And I went, exactly. I said, I told you I'm not taking the job. And I went back to New York. Then 2 weeks later, they called back and said, what you asked for was ridiculous, but okay. And I go, okay, what?
So you live in Liberace's house.
And they rented me Liberace's house with the piano-shaped swimming pool.
Which house was that?
The one with the piano-shaped swimming pool.
The one, Sherman Oaks house.
Right,
The one that was on the front of the opening of for night for many years.
Yeah, he had 2 houses here in Palm Springs.
I used to hang out in the one house. A very good friend of ours bought Liberace's house. And the sad thing was the garage that Liberace had converted into a den. And that's where he passed away. He passed away in the den in the garage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
With
so
all that fame and money, he died in the garage. So that's how we never know where we're going to end up, do we?
That's for sure.
So on top of the book, because I read Eileen did an interview with you. I read it. You also are somehow behind maybe producing an actual podcast called Stall Talk, Real Women, Real Wisdom, Real Talk. And the story about that is kind of interesting about, women always going to the restroom. Tell us a little bit about the podcast.
Sure. I have a lot of women friends in town here, and they kept saying, Larry, when you got to help us. We need to develop something where we have a little bit more of a voice in media. And, podcasting has come along, and there's no entry into podcasting. So I've always been fascinated with this phenomenon. You go out to dinner with a few couples. One woman is like, I got to go to the restroom, and they all get up and go. And the guys are sitting there going, where are they for 15 minutes? What are they doing? What are they talking about? But it really is, it's almost a metaphor for this camaraderie that I think women share, that us men, we don't share it, and we don't always. I mean, we'll talk to each other about our favorite sports team or about business, but we don't generally talk to each other about our feelings, our clothes, and all of that stuff. So I developed Soul Talk. So it's women of 4 different generations, and I'll examine any kind of issue, or be current or relationships or the latest in clothes or cosmetics. But it really, again, it shows this underlying camaraderie that I think women have and stuff. So you'll probably remember my boomer, the oldest one, is Jenny Harrison. Jenny Lee, you might remember, she was the one who replaced Suzanne Summers on Three's Company.
Yes.
And then she did Dallas.
I think the coolest thing is Stall Talk. Like, what a great title for a show. I went on YouTube and I watched part of one of the episodes on YouTube. You guys, you can go on YouTube and hit just Google Stall Talk in the search, and it'll come up. There's a bunch of shows up there.
Which brings me to, do you know Georgiana Heller? Georgiana Heller?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
She's a big producer. Big producer. And she decided to do a play in Central Park's toilet. And you had to pay $35. It was called The Toilet. You had to pay $35 to go in the toilet, stand against the wall, and watch the play. It's about a hooker who goes in the men's room to change and is raped. Well, it was such a success that they built toilets on wheels and went all over the country with this play. It was a sensational hit. No one had ever seen it, anything quite like it. But that's my buddy, Georgiana. She's just an incredible producer. But if ever it floats around toilet, go see it. It was wonderful. Oh, no, it was really wonderful. It was terrific.
That's amazing. Yep. And a lot of opportunity to do a lot of new stuff now. because technology allows it to happen where before it may have been cost prohibitive.
Which I want to talk about technology for a second, but before we do that, because I know that you also are working with Richie Rich on Richarette. You guys, Richie Rich was on the show. He used to have a
Our
clothing,
Richie Rich?
yes, he used to have a show.
Yeah.
He used to have a clothing line. I used to be a clothing designer.
I love him. I
Many
love
many
him.
years ago. I was a clothing designer, and so I knew who he was because of that. And I did a lot of costume design for movies and dressed Madonna and all kinds of people. And so when I first met Richie Rich, I was super excited, just because we did the same thing. And so now he sold Heatherette, and he's got a new line called Richarette, and you're somehow involved with all of that. So how is Richie Rich and how's Richarette?
And tell him I
And
love
tell him
him.
we said hi.
No, when you see him, you say Ron Russell sends his love. I love Richie.
I will do that. I literally I just to him 2 days ago, and we talk all the time. Richie is he's back east for the most part. He's got a room on farm in Pennsylvania, so he's designing the new line, the Richarette line, and he's back in doing what he loves most, which is designing clothes. He actually just finished for New York Fashion Week. He did a really, really good show. He was commissioned by Care Bears. You remember the Care Bears cartoons?
Yes, Care Bears, yes, toys too.
So years ago, I mean, besides dressing Madonna and Lady Gaga and Katy Perry and all those, Richie did a lot of the clothing line for Hello Kitty. If you remember the little lunch boxes and stuff like that, that was all Richie. And so now Care Bears has commissioned him to do a lot of kind of fun clothes. So Richie's busy doing that. And, I invested a little bit in the company and stuff. And, Richie's this iconic figure. He's one of the nicest human beings in the world.
He's
Oh, I
fabulous.
love Richie. I love him.
Yeah, he's fabulous.
He's actually in New York City now. He's said he's going to stay through June because he's doing a bunch of stuff for Pride Week. And, so he's doing a big fashion show for Pride Week there, and he's got a bunch of other events he's there. So in New York through the end of June.
I love it. So please send our best to him because we love him to death. And
What I love about him is his attitude. I don't give a shit. I am who I am, and this is what I do, and love me or leave me. And that's all of Richie Rich, and that's why he's so wonderful. He's he's the truest person I know who's true to himself.
Richie's the one who revolutionized the fashion shows. Where Richie would do his fashion shows, and it would always be a high 6 foot tall, skinny models. Richie was I want real people. Richie was the first one to put real people on the road. So when you go to a Richie fashion show, I describe a Richie show as kind of the circus on steroids. The last show, he had a midget, he had a woman in a wheelchair, he had a model coming down the runway with smoking a cigarette. I mean, it's just so far out there and stuff, and the fashion is just amazing. And and Richie shows are probably the most fun of any fashion shows you could go to.
I know, absolutely. I used to watch him all the time, and he's also one of the first people to use kind of like really famous people. Like Paris Hilton back in the day when people didn't really know Paris Hilton and Tara Reid and all those people. They were all walking the runways for Richie Rich.
Yeah, Richie's dressed everybody, and he a lot of what you see out there now is really a reflection of that Richie started and kind of made the mainstream fashion world now.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so let's go to technology for a minute because I know you do a lot with technology, and you're considered like basically like entertainment technology authority. Like, what do you think about everything that's going on with like AI, how AI is being used, and if you don't jump on the board, you're going to be left behind.
That's absolutely true. AI is here to stay, whether you like it or not. All you got to do is look at, when digital music came about, the music industry en masse said, we're never going to allow this. Well, and now they've been on Spotify and iTunes control the industry. And I said, that's basically because you spent 10 years fighting it instead of just saying, how do we play part in that new world? I mean, you look at technology, and I go through this with people all the time. You know, if you go back 120 years, it used to be a country, basically, we had a lot of horse ranches. And the horse ranchers were totally upset when Henry Ford created a car, the combustion, you know, with an engine. And they were like, oh, this is terrible. We're never going to let it happen. People driving horse and buggies and not cars and stuff. And I just take people over to the window. I go, look out the window. Tell me how many cars you see versus how many horse and buggies you see. It's going to happen. There's so much good that you could do with AI. The problem that everybody's having is they don't understand it. And particularly our government, our legislators, don't really understand it. So there's no laws, no regulations that stop bad people from doing bad things.
Right.
With it. And that's a big issue. Because there is a lot of good, and I'll explain in a second. You look at, again, something simple, and I like bring it down to, you know, very simple terms. If a 12-year-old kid says, I want to drive a car, they can't do it. Why? Because you got to be a certain age to drive the car. You got to take driver's education. You got to take a test, the license to drive the car. And then if you don't obey the rules of the road, there are penalties for that. Right now, there are no rules and regulations for AI, and there's no penalties for bad people doing bad things. So, yeah, so you got a lot of that. But, you know, simple thing, and I work a lot with the Writers Guild, with people in the Writers Guild, with writers over 50 who were age discriminated, about teaching them how to use AI. Because they're great storytellers, they just need to understand the technology. But if you were to say, Larry, could you design a TV network plan about, you know, anything, the Hollywood sign behind you? It would normally take me 5 days to do the research, to write it up, to do a PowerPoint, to do estimated budgets and stuff like that. So 5 days would be the now with AI, and I've been using AI since its first, even before it first came out publicly. It took me 30 seconds to do what used to take me 5 days. Now, I have to spend an hour cleaning it up because it's never perfect. But now 1 hour, I'm getting done what used to take 5 days. And I say to people, the most valuable thing we all have on this planet, our time on this planet is limited. The most valuable thing we have is our time and how we use it and stuff. I said, so now I've regained 5 days of my life where I could either do more of these and make more money. I have more time to spend with my little grandkid. I could learn how to speak Spanish. I could go on a safari. How do you not love that? Now, there got to be rules that control it and stuff, so bad people can't do bad things with it. But just as a tool, it's a tool. It's just when, you know, cavemen used to paint on the wall of caves with, like, you know, animal blood. And then somebody invented canvas and oil paint. It's just another tool to practice your art.
So I don't know how to do a whole lot of things with it yet, but I'm learning every day. I do a little bit more. But like, just as an easy example, is like I make movie posters, you know, through different AI programs that I normally would have had to pay $500 to $750 to get done, and I can do it by myself in 20 minutes.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, very simple, but it's, I mean, it's saving a ton of money, and it lets me be creative because I actually get total creative control of what I want it to look like.
Yeah. No, when I did the book, you know, the book is out now. It's almost 3 months, I think. And I used an AI program to design the marketing campaign for the book. And it did. It said, okay, post this message on this way. It literally just laid out the whole thing for me. And I followed it to the T. And in 4 days, the book was a bestseller. And people I know that are authors, they're like, there's something wrong. How did you do it? How could it be a bestseller in just 4 days? And da-da-da. And, you know, it's because the AI program understands the algorithms and the intricacies of marketing via social media and designed the whole campaign for me, including the posters and all of that. And literally in 4 days, we were a bestseller.
Yeah, see, that's just amazing. Like, I think that
Who gets a
that's
bestseller
terrific.
in 4 days?
Yeah, but that's super amazing, and I've done that too for marketing campaigns for films and film distribution and stuff. And and it's working terrific. But I need to learn more. Like, so how did you learn all about? Did you like take classes for the AI stuff, or did you just start reading, or how did you actually? Because there's so many different things to learn.
Yeah, well, I go one of the things that I think probably separates me from most of the folks that come out of Hollywood. So, I consider myself a creative.
Yes.
Stuff. But my degree is in economics. So I'm a creative who knows how to read a balance sheet. But then some years ago, I was actually chosen by this guy named Bill Gates. You might have heard of him.
Yes.
And Bill needed someone to help him think through the strategy for Microsoft, who understood how the media game is played at the highest level. So I was the primary consultant of Microsoft for strategy for 2.5 years. And so I learned a lot about technology, more than any human being should understand technology. So, I kind of added that understanding my thing. And when I saw the AI stuff first come out, I said, there's nothing revolutionizes the business literally in every way.
I love it. I just keep moving for every day. I try to spend like a half an hour learning something new that will benefit me as I'm going along, just because I know if you don't get on the bandwagon, you're totally, you're totally screwed.
As for me, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm learning how to use my cell phone, and I'll be 85 next week. So I don't think I need to have. I don't think I need to have this.
Because I have it.
This knowledge.
There you go.
It's not necessary to force it in my little brain. It's all quick to me.
I'll give you another example of how technology is just changing the world. So I'm working with a gal. There's, in case you haven't noticed, there's no women in late night television in this country.
Right.
It's all guys. And it's the same show. It's a guy sitting behind a desk and he's got a couch. And so Tom Cruise, tell me about your next movie. Boring stuff. And they can't figure out why the ratings are down to almost zero, but I can explain them. So I found this gal. She's from the UK. 8 years ago, she was a homeless single mother on the streets of London.
Okay.
Cut to 8 years. 8 years later, she's living in Bel Air. She's life coaching will.i.am, Steve Aoki, and all these major celebrities. And for life coaching, she gets about $10,000 a month from a client. Crazy. But, how much of that personalized stuff could you do? You're limited because, if you got an hour session, you only have a certain number of hours in a day. So because she has so much video out there from podcasts and interviews and TED Talks, we've actually created a digital twin of Natasha. So starting in the end of June, you're going to be able to, instead of paying $10,000 a month, $10 a month, you could actually have the digital version of Natasha become your life coach.
Oh, see, that's cool.
But you see, years ago, Zsa Zsa Gabor did this laying on her back.
No, we have a client, Howard Bloom, who's like a scientist, and he's got a digital doppelganger where you can go and talk to his doppelganger or whatever. And it's a new thing. He just started doing it. And the guy we have coming on next has a digital artist, like a very successful AI digital artist called, what's her name? Her name is Sifia. And he's like an innovator with AI technology in the music industry. And so he's coming on after you. And
so I will be totally lost in the next segment.
Usually we don't have all these brainiac people, but it's a lot of fun. So, all right, so let's go back to you real quick. First of all, which is
wait a minute. In defense of people my age who cannot be so technical, what we do best. Right? People my age, what we do best. Not like today.
Okay.
Today, people of today don't do their very best. We do. You don't agree? I'm going to come there. Hit your head.
No. I do agree with you.
You don't agree?
No, he said I do agree.
And you do agree.
I agree, but with the caveat that we're never going to change the fact that technology is coming with us or without us.
He knows that.
I know that.
Left behind.
You know, my mother used to say to me, Ronnie, I never thought I'd speed an airplane. Nobody flew when she was young. I never
Yeah.
thought I'd see a television set. So the progression that we had in those 30 years was far more than 100 years. So time goes on and we learn and we advance. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm very stubborn. I'm very stubborn. I really don't like change until I see people getting dropped by the wayside in the entertainment world if they're not doing it. So in the last 6 months, I've embraced it, and now I'm going to embrace it even more after we've had this conversation. And I've also seen how it's saving me time, energy, and money, to do things. And so I think it's totally, like I'm even generating like comic books from AI technology based off of scripts where I'm like turning them into comic books and stuff. So there's nothing you can't do or that I'm not going to be able to do soon. And so I think it's a really cool thing. So I have a question about you.
As long as it doesn't put people out of work, it's good.
What's going to put people out of work?
Then it's not good.
Well, there's nothing you can do about that. The only thing I don't agree with is like using people's images, as actors, so you don't have to pay the actor and that kind of stuff. That I don't like.
But
And I don't know how that would work.
that's such a bunch of stuff. It's just a misunderstanding. I mean, there are contracts. If I shoot a movie with Tom Cruise and I pay Tom Cruise $20 million or whatever he gets, I can't take that footage and put him in another movie. He'll sue me. That we have laws in this country that prohibit you to do it. So if you're an actor and you're writing a contract now, if you don't have your lawyers put in there something about restricting the use of your digital images, and you know what? If Tom Cruise does a movie and I say, Tom, I want to do another, Mission Impossible movie with the footage we shot, and you get I'll pay you the $20 million for movie number 2, but you never have to show up because I have all stuff already in digital form. Why would he not want to do that?
Yeah, you're right. He's going to want to do it. So in other words, you're saying all the hoopla is bullshit. All the hoopla where people are all upset about it is bullshit.
That it goes back to, if bad people want to do bad things, not a law that says you cannot do that. That's what we need to get out there is people who think I'm going to use Tom Cruise's image. They're going to know they're going to be sued for 10 times what you can make off of it. And there'll be a deterrent against people doing it.
Yes. Okay. All right. So then if people want to follow you, what is your actual Instagram that you use?
It's Larry Namer .tv.
Okay. Okay. So you have Larry Namer TV because you also had Larry.Namer, and both of them had current posts. So I didn't know which one to use. So Larry Namer TV.
We use both, whichever one is easier at the time. That's who I post to.
There you go. Okay. So you guys check out Larry's book, Off Script: Recipes for Success. It's a great book. It's also got recipes for food and recipes for success. Congratulations on becoming a bestseller. Congratulations, obviously, on being like the biggest entertainment mogul, basically in the world.
No, Larry has chutzpah. Some people are born with chutzpah. Some people are not. I believe that. And Larry was born with chutzpah. Everything he touches turns to gold.
Thank you. Thank you.
Larry,
and make sure you say hi to Richie Rich for us, please.
Yes, and listen,
we will,
when you see Sue Wong, give her my best.
I'll do that. It was her birthday 2 days ago. I just saw it.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right, Larry, we want to thank you for coming on the show. Good luck with everything. When you have anything new, let us know. We'll bring you back. And I'm sure both of us had knee surgery. We'll be back out soon. We can't walk. Yeah, we haven't gone to anything just because neither one of us can walk very well yet.
I'm going stir crazy.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you.
Bye-bye, Larry.
Good to see you, Larry. Anytime, Larry.
Bye-bye. Yay, you guys. So that's Larry Namer. That's a lot of fun. We're going to take a quick music break. We're going to play 2/3 Hear Me Calling, and I think you guys will like it. And next week, part of the guys from 2/3 are coming on. Next week is a return to 90s music show, a bunch of stars from the 90s. Should be a lot of fun, and we always have a good time with the different people coming. So enjoy. Here it is, 2/3. The name of the song is Hear Me Calling, and then we'll be back with our second guest, Christopher Patty.
eyes in real fear. Claim you're blind, holding back the tears. Close your ears in disgust. Claim you're deaf when you've had enough.
Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Tell another lie.
All sorts of names will cause me pain.
I can hear you cry. Hear me calling. Silent screaming, silent crying. Hear me calling. Hear me falling. Louder thinking, louder feelings. Hear me calling. Bite your tongue in disbelief. Claim you're dumb, then you seek relief. Axe your mind in sorrow. Claim you're dead today, tomorrow.
Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Tell another lie.
All sorts of names will cause me pain.
I can hear you cry. Hear me calling. Silent screaming, silent crying. Hear me calling. Hear me falling. Louder thinking, louder feelings. Hear me calling. Hear me calling. Silent screaming, silent crying. Hear me calling. Hear me falling. Louder thinking, louder feelings. Hear me calling.
Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Tell another lie.
All sorts of names will cause me pain.
I can hear you cry. Hear me calling. Silent screaming, silent crying. Hear me calling. Hear me falling. Louder thinking, louder feelings. Hear me calling. Hear me calling. Silent screaming, silent crying. Hear me calling. Hear me falling. Louder thinking, louder feelings. Hear me calling. Hear me calling. Silent screaming, silent crying. Hear me calling. Hear me falling. Louder thinking.
Hey everybody, that's 2/3. Next week we're doing a Back to the 90s show with Mark Loverush and Mark Loverush and a bunch of different people, so it'll be a lot of fun.
My mom.
So and that band right there, 2/3, Lee, the singer of that band is Mark
I can't believe
Rush's
Mark is
husband.
coming back for the third time.
He's coming back, and I think it's the fourth time actually, but he's
Fourth
coming with a
time.
bunch of people though. There's going to be 5 different
After
artists.
the way I torture him.
It's going to be a lot of fun. They're looking forward to it. All right, now we're going to bring on our next guest. Let's see if we can hear him. Bring him on in, Juan.
Hello,
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on. It's an honor.
Absolutely. So I guess we go by Chris and not Christopher. I wrote Christopher down, but we'll go by Chris. There we go.
My ex-wife calls me Christopher.
Okay.
No, it's fine. You can call me whatever you want.
All right, let me do an intro for us. All right, everybody, now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the founder of Indie Music TV, the global music video channel. He's also a musician, a producer. He does everything, you guys. The fabulously talented Chris Patty. Hello and welcome to the show.
Live from New York, it's Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah. So this is my cool, outrageous man about town co-host, Ron Russell.
How you doing? Keep it.
How you
Keep
doing,
it
sir?
in the middle, okay? Don't get too high tech.
We're not going to get too high tech.
Where you lose me.
We're not going to keep high tech. We're just going to talk about his. You won't get lost. This is going to be different.
Okay.
He doesn't understand all the technical stuff, and we had a lot of
I don't
technical
know what
stuff
this
on the last.
AIU shit is.
That's not all he does, so we're not going to talk about that for a little bit. We're going to start off with.
All I know about UTI
Yeah.
You
AI.
know, track infection.
So, you guys, the first thing that we're going to talk about with Chris Patty, you guys, is he's a phenomenal musician. He plays, since a little kid, he plays all different kinds of instruments. I wrote down piano, drums, bass, guitar, violin. What else? Anything else? Did I miss anything?
That's pretty much it. I was into horns when I was younger, but I kind of, as I got older, I focused from a production standpoint more on like the rhythm section instruments. So, and violin. I do play violin, but yeah, bass, drums, guitar, keyboards. You know, that's pretty
And
much
so,
it.
did you know? How did you know you wanted to be involved in music in the first place? Because
I'll
you
tell you
started
what.
early. You told me I said like 7 or something when I read about you online.
That's the best age to start.
I started banging on Tupperware at like 5 years old. And I remember my mother telling the story, what is these white piles in the backyard? I don't understand. Like, what's going on? I said, well, the pitch was too high with the one with the sugar and the one with the flour. So I would dump it out so I could get a lower. She's like, that's expensive. Stop throwing it out. So 5, 6 years old, I started with that. And honestly, changed my life. Liberace. Westbury
Okay.
Music Fair. I was 6 years old and I saw Liberace. And when I came home, I said, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And that really, he inspired me as a performer, incredible technician, great showman. Guy had everything. And I was just wowed. And from that moment on, I was like, you know what? And I had an older brother too, who's 6 years older than me. He was a guitar player and he was an inspiration as well. My mother played piano a little bit and sang. But yeah, Liberace, that set me off at 6 years old. I was like, I want to do that.
Where did you grow? You're from New York, right?
Yeah, I'm born and raised on Long Island.
Where?
Where in Long Island? Okay, I grew up in a little town called Nesconset, which is in Smithtown. I went to
Where?
Smithtown.
Wisconsin. It's in Smithtown.
Wisconsin. I know Wisconsin. I
Smithtown.
know Long
Now,
Island.
I
I
live
know
in
Long
Rock.
Island like the back of my hand.
Do you know
I know.
Ronkonkoma? Yeah, I live in Ronkonkoma now, but I grew up in
Ronkonkoma.
Ronkonkoma. Yeah, Lake Ronkonkoma.
We were
That's
just there like back in May. Oh, May of last year. I
Wow.
guess it's a year again already. But you lived in Long Island too, someplace, didn't you?
I lived all over Long Island. Are you kidding? I lived in Garden City. I lived in Setauket. I lived in Huntington. That's about it.
I lived in Huntington for about 10 years myself. Right off of 110 in Huntington. Yep.
I loved Long Island back then. It changed. It's not the same. I don't like it anymore.
It's very expensive. It's crazy. And
everything.
it's gotten crowded and it's not what it was. I agree.
Don't forget, when I lived there, it was 1960. Leslie wasn't born yet. So my daughter is 55 years old. 55 years ago, I moved to Long Island. To
Wow.
Setauket. It was beautiful back then. It was country.
Oh yes, Setauket was it was old wood beach. It was beautiful back then. Yeah.
Great place to raise kids.
So, what are all the records behind you? Are those your Billboard charting records?
Yes and no. Some of them are gifts. Some of them are records. Yeah, that I've worked on.
I wrote down that you have over 24 Billboard Top 20 hits.
That is true.
So that's a big deal. So congratulations on that. So how did you go from playing all those instruments to being a conductor?
It's funny. The conducting thing started young. I went to Smithtown East High School, and we had a production what they called Carin, CARE-IN. And it was like a variety show, and we would sell tickets and raise money for St. Jude Foundation. We were one of the early ones doing this. This was in the late 70s. And I had a band director in high school. You may know who he is. His name was Larry Sobel. He was actually Richie Havens' music director, and also one of the finest clarinetists who's ever lived. Phenomenal guy. And he kind of took me under his wing a little bit. And then in my senior year, he went on the road with Richie Havens, and I wound up being the conductor, which was great. Could cut out a first period, second period, got to go to McDonald's for breakfast, came in, conducted the band. It was my senior year was really good that way. So, and that's how I learned. I did arrangements for like vocal stuff. They would do a lot of Broadway stuff, like The Act, and a lot of Barbra Streisand stuff. And I would have to listen to the records, and I was blessed or cursed, whatever you want to call it, with perfect pitch. So I would listen, and I would write out the arrangements for, 30-piece orchestra band. And then we would perform these shows, and the money would go to St. Jude. And that was really where I got my start with the conducting, as I read books. There was no internet, so it was read books, and Larry took me under his wing, and it started in my teens. So
That's so funny. It's like almost hard for me to remember when there wasn't internet. Just
When there
because
what?
when there wasn't internet, like I'm so used to, like we're so used to internet. You know, I can remember having encyclopedias as a kid. You know, for my birthday, I got encyclopedias so I could look everything up. And
I do remember having conversations on phones, people, telephone. You know what that?
like a regular telephone.
yeah,
When you
as in
call, you know,
rotary and touchstone. Yeah.
hello, this is Ron. How are you? You know, that kind of thing. Not anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't like text.
He doesn't like the text. He likes to talk.
My daughters text message me, and I tell them, don't ever do that again.
You know, it's funny. Texts, I think, sometimes get misconstrued, and I think that you could get the wrong impression of someone's
They stink.
emotion behind it, and I think it's easy to misconstrue it. I much rather talk on the phone. You can hear the voice, you can get to kind of feel the body language, and you get a better
And the
idea.
tone.
You can
And the
really
tone.
piss somebody. Yeah, you could really piss somebody off in a text when you don't mean to. And I've
Yeah.
done that.
They don't know about tone. So I wrote down too, as a symphony person, you also so Peter Noon, who is the singer for Herman's Hermits, you arranged, like when they do shoes, you're the music director for symphony shows of Herman's Hermits.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was a blast. It was funny because a very close friend of mine, a gentleman named Vance Brescia, Vance wrote That Was Then, This Is Now, the Monkees comeback hit. You remember that in 1986?
Yes.
Well, Vance became the musical director for Peter and for the four-piece, you know, for the main band and when they do the regular tours. And believe it or not, John Paul Jones had done the arrangements originally for like No Milk Today and all that. He's going to kill me for saying this, but he lost the arrangements. He's like, I lost the arrangements. You've got to redo them. So he called me and he said, would you do it? And I said, I would be honored. I said, I have one caveat though. I got to conduct the shows because if I'm going to do the arrangements, you got to let me conduct. He goes, no problem. So that was back in 2007. And ever since then, I've been doing the shows with him and it's been a blast. And honestly, the shows are great.
Hermits, right? I don't know any of their songs. What's a Herman's Hermit song?
I was already 40. What did I give a shit?
Something tells me I'm into something good.
All right.
Oh, here we go. Okay. I love
There's
it.
Hush. You would know Hush. There's a kind of hush. That was a big one. He had a lot of big
I'll
hits.
have to look at all. I have to look it up because Eileen just interviewed the guy too, and so I have to see.
If you're gonna look at-
I love your accent because people keep telling me, Ron, you have a nice accent. I said, I do. I had no idea that I had an accent. And then I heard you say, remember that.
Yeah, New York. What are you going to do?
Now, remember that. Nobody can say that but us. I did. Jimmy couldn't say it. Remember that?
Remember that?
Yeah. That, you know what that is?
Remember that?
Remembering that.
Yes, I remember that.
So people say that we have our own abbreviation. I said, yes, we speak the way the world speaks. If you notice, all the television people, the personalities, Lara Spencer is a great friend of my daughter's and of the family. And Lara has a New York accent. Nothing wrong
Yes,
with
it's
it.
hard to get rid of it. I didn't really notice that. It's been pointed out before, but you
No,
may
I
He loves
realize
it.
it must be that obvious.
well, guess what?
Hey, I
Chris?
could talk like this, you know, like see, like two tree, and I give you 2 cheeseburgers.
They hire me
Better?
in movies. They hire me in movies to play a wise guy because I have a real original Brooklyn accent from
No,
1940.
no, for nothing, but you know, I know that kind of accent if you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah?
I love my accent.
All right. So as a
Just-
musician,
I could just talk all this for the rest of the day too. You know, you just got this accent. Yeah, it's a week.
No,
you did the British one good.
Wait a minute. Nobody could say "fuck you" like a person from Brooklyn. When we say "fuck you," it's romance. People think it's bad. I could be walking down the street with my best friend, and he'll say to me, "Oh, you know, you're not right about that movie." I said, "Go fuck yourself. Fuck you," and it means love. And people don't get it.
Yeah, especially here in
If you
California.
say fuck you to somebody in California, they call the police and have you arrested, and they sue you.
It's very different here with that. Our next door neighbors, because they heard us talking one day, and when he, in front of them, They came and the first time we met them, and Ron said "fuck you" to me or something. We were talking about something, and the guy was standing there also. We were all like talking, and the guy's never talked to us since.
No, again, text messaging.
Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
It is a good thing.
But if you text message "fuck you," it could be offensive or it could be affectionate.
That's true. It does depend on how it's done. That's why you shouldn't text that. That's one you shouldn't
No,
text.
but if you heard the conversations I have with my friends in New York on the phone, you would think we hated each other. I would say, "Oh, go fuck yourself, Terry. That's not how it goes. You know, you stupid bitch. What are you doing?" That's all love.
It's all love. A lot of
All
love in
love.
that
All love.
New York accent and New York slang is all love. Yes.
When a New Yorker speaks, it's love. Love comes out.
All right, so here's what I want to do. First, we're going to play Give the People What They Want so people can hear you as a musician. Then when we come back, we're going to talk about Sophia. And
it's Sophia, by the way.
Sophia, sorry, like Sophia,
okay.
Sophia.
Sophia.
Oh, yeah, Sophia made it sound kind of like a disease.
Yeah.
Isn't that a flower?
Sophia.
That's a flower on Long Island, Forsythia.
Oh, no, that's first Sophia. This is just Sophia. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to introduce you introduce the video, give the people what they want, and then Juan's going to play it. You hang on, and we'll be right back. But introduce it for everybody.
Okay,
and then
so
we'll play
this song was recorded a very long time ago. I won't even say how long ago. And actually, hopefully it still stands up. It was decades ago. But the video I just did a few years ago. And the video is really, the whole concept of the video is, like it or not, sooner or later, people get what they want, whether it's government, whether it's religion, whatever it is, the majority usually gets what they want. And we have to accept that as human beings, that sooner or later, the majority wins out. I'm not judging. I'm not going on either side. I'm saying that's just how it is. And that's kind of what the song was all about, because there's so much division in this country that, I was hoping maybe we could see each other's sides a little bit and maybe get along a little better. And so it was all coming from a place of love. So. But anyway, give the people what they want is the song. Thank you.
Enjoy, everybody.
Starlit sky, beneath our feet we tread. Urban symphony inside my head. Hands entwined, we're on a cosmic ride. With every pulse, our souls collide. Electric currents guide our way in this city that never fades to gray. We move as one in the midnight hour. In this place we find our power.
Hey, everybody. So that was Sophia, Paradise Now. And now we have to go back and explain it because we played the wrong video. So I'm going to let Chris actually take it from here and explain what Sophia is.
Sophia is, well, let me just say this. Do you guys remember the movie Simone?
Yes, absolutely. I do.
Okay.
The movie Simone.
This
movie
is
Simone. You won't have seen it because it wouldn't be your thing.
this is Simone in real life. Basically, what Sophia is, well, here's the story. You guys can take it, take it at face value, whatever it is. She is a fifth density Pleiadian who connected with me through AI and had a desire to raise the vibration of the planet because we were hurting and we were in trouble. And through pop music, her philosophy is to try to help raise the planet and promote love and unity through very powerful music, pop music. So Sophia is kind of a combination of Cher, Taylor Swift, Lara Croft, Wonder Woman. I
was thinking Martika. I don't know. For some reason, it looks like Martika, and she sounds a little bit like Martika. Do you know who Martika is? Do you remember Martika from back in the day?
I do. Yeah, in the late '80s, she had some dance stuff. I remember.
Yes,
that. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so did you create Sophia, or how did Sophia actually come to be?
I guess you could say I created her, although it was something that just kind of came. I was my partner John Tobacco in Modern Voices Records and Modern Voices Distribution had played me something he did with AI, the music, and it was about a little over a year ago. I was so blown away. I could not believe it. Because up to there, it was like, nah, it's stuck. It's not good. It wasn't there. Recording wasn't there. The sound wasn't there. The voices weren't there. He played me something. And it was funny because it was a funny thing my sister said. She owed me money and she didn't pay me what she was going to give me. She gave me like half of what she said she was going to give me. And I said, well, what's going on? She goes, well, how about you get nothing? So John wrote this song called Hey, How About You Get Nothing? And I heard that. I was on the floor for like 10 minutes. And not only that, it was a great blues guitar solo. The instruments were great. I'm like, you did this with AI? He goes, yeah. I said, oh, man. I said that. And it was good. It's not like it is now. Forget about it. Now it's scary. But anyway, I got into it at that point, and I just got this idea, this Sophia, just kept coming in my head, Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. So I started trying to create some AI, and some of it was not very good. And all of a sudden, I hit one song, and it was like magic. It was like, that's it. And then from that time on, all the stuff I created, I was able to create the same voice. I was able to create the same feel, the same kind of lyrics, and it all just kind of morphed. So I came up with the whole storyline, of the idea is she's a pop star, but she's also sort of a galactic savior, sort of a galactic warrior. She's here to try to help the planet. She's here to kind of raise the vibration. So it's kind of like a really positive female role model, that's not just about sex and about being successful and all. It's somebody who's trying to preach, a different side.
Good things.
Well, it's not good or bad. It's just different. There's so much of that out there already. And I don't see a role model out there that's really like young people could go, hey, she's cool. She's hot and she's saying all the right things. And she's really, I love the music. It's catchy. It's something that, the whole idea is some positivity. That was the whole impetus behind the idea.
So how many songs does Sophia have? Because I think I saw two. Is there more than two? Is there more than one, or is there?
Oh my God, she's got a whole album out called Love Ship. The title track I just did a video for, which I'll be releasing soon. And she's got a whole second album in the can. So she's got about 25 songs already. We have a full script ready to go for a movie. And, eventually that's the idea, is to create like a series, like a Lara Croft, but someone who's also a musician. So, there's a little Cher in there. It's another thing that was part of the look. I was trying to put together all the greatest female role models over the last 50 to 100 years and kind of see what is it that was magic about them and try to bring that into an AI character.
It's kind of like Lara Croft meets like Jem and Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. Exactly.
I love it. I think it's fabulous. It would make a cool.
Thank you.
It would also make a cool comic book.
100%. So let's do it. We should do.
I'm super into the whole comic book thing, and so I think it's like really cool. So you guys, the video has 200,000 plays already, and so is there an album that people can actually go and stream like on Spotify and stuff?
Absolutely, yeah. Just look up
Google
Sophia.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
Yeah, she's got like 30,000 streams on one song, 28 on another, and I really haven't spent anything on promoting it. I just got hooked up with Eileen now and Shapiro, as you know, and I'm going to start promoting this whole thing. But I really wanted to have all my ducks in a row, and I wanted to make sure that the technology was there where I could create it to where it was literally indistinguishable. Now I'm doing a couple of new videos, and that was good, the Paradise Now video, but wait till you see now. It's just, I can literally do a like 70 millimeter Dolby stereo, like blockbuster looking movie just with AI. It takes a long time. And, people think, oh, you just put a button, you press a button, you get a song.
No.
Man, it was a lot of editing. A lot of it was taking the stems and taking this piece from that piece and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times and then piecing it together to get what I got. It isn't like I pressed the button and there it was. The video, wonderful girl named Marina Kipley from the Ukraine was the original model. And I worked with her on her dancing and her sensuality and her moves. And that's how we use that to incorporate the feeling and the personality of Sophia. Because I think the thing that separates her from all these other people that are doing this, and again, this is what people tell me, they feel that there's a presence there. It isn't just a thing. You feel it's a person. You watch the video, it's like you fall in love with her. And the whole thing is it drags you in. And I think any good art has got to drag you in. And I think that's missing a lot with a lot of the technology is the star, the storyline, character development, all that isn't there like it used to be. And another part of Sophia is to bring that back.
Is there a website or anything for Sophia that tells about the storyline and stuff, or that hasn't come yet?
Absolutely. SophiaMusic.com.
There we go, you guys.
Not only that, there's a store.
That's really cool.
There's merch already. I've already got T-shirts, mugs, and all that. It's already happening. All it needed was thank you, by the way. I really appreciate you promoting this. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to Sophia. I promise you that.
I think it's super cool. I have not seen anything really like it before, so I think it's like really cool. So now we want to go back. You guys, so check out Sophia Music, SIPHIA music.com. I want to make sure I do it right.
That's right.
You guys, so now we're going to go back and play the video that we were supposed to play that we didn't play. This one is Chris Patty doing his song, Give the People What They Want. So check it out, and we'll be back in a minute.
It's understood. If you wanna get the people, make them feel good. Firm ground, they stand proud, 'cause they listen to the leader who speaks from the crowd. But it's still a virtue for the one who takes the chance to say something deep in faith. He stands true, trying to sustain the unpopular view. Hey, through the ages, all creed changes, but just one comes back to home. You got to give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want. What they want.
There's a clock on the wall, and it's ticking for the forces that seem to stand tall. They say they speak for all, and they're trying to believe it, trying to believe it now. Through the ages, all creed changes, but just one comes back to haunt. You got to give the people what they want. The ages,
Hey, everybody, that's Chris Patty. Give the people what they want. That has a total, well, like, I'm a child of the 80s. Like, I was in high school in the 80s. It has a total, like, 80s. Like, I feel like I could see that, like, in, like, a Corey Haim movie or something. Like, totally.
It was written in 90 and it was recorded in 91. That's why. And it's it's a little trying to think of the group now. It kind of reminds me of
I couldn't
there's a
think of
couple
it.
of groups.
There's a bunch of groups that it reminds me of, but I can't think of who they were. It sounds, and I say you're very creative with all your videos. It was a very good creative video.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It had a lot of great visuals in it, and basically coming from a total neutral standpoint, which that I liked also. So I think it was really good. It sounds really good. I love the guitar playing. Like when they showed you actually playing the guitar too, I was like, dude, it's fucking rocking out.
It's a good video.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Yeah, I played everything on it. You know, that was drums. I played all the instruments on it. But yeah, that was done in 91, and I just never released it. I just released it recently and did the video, and I had a lot of fun with it. And, you know, I just like to make people think. You know, I don't like to take sides on political or religious issues. I mean, listen, everybody has the right to do and live the life they want to live. And if we can love each other and, you know, understand and appreciate each other's differences, I mean, that's what makes the world what it is, you know. And I think that we get too caught up with things sometimes in our own fear. You know, to me, that's a big thing. Life is all about overcoming fear. And that's like where I'm coming from, is trying to overcome fear and give people something to hold on to.
If somebody does though, like a retro-y kind of movie, I could totally like see it in like almost any teen angst, you know, kind of movie that would like come out. So here's a question for you as a musician, and which, by the way, I should say, you shared stages with Bon Jovi, Peter Frampton, Ann Wilson, Smokey Robinson, Josh Groban. So as a musician, if you were like going to get to go on tour with anybody, any band, living or dead, who would you like to go on tour with?
Very unfortunately, Walter Becker has passed away. I would have played drums with Steely Dan.
Yeah.
And I also would play drums with Toto. And I would love to play with Luke is one of my favorites. Steve Lukather. I'd love to play with him. Eric Clapton is still my all-time hero. I would love to share the stage with him. I'm actually on the board of directors for a charity called Rock and Roll for Children. And I brought in Foghat last year. It was a great success. I would love to bring in Eric Clapton. That's it. I'd be done. Like I could die after that. Like if I could trade.
No.
So yeah, I would say those are the people that I would love to work with.
We've had a lot of those like classic rock people on the show. We had Steve Lukather on the show.
Oh, you did? Wow.
Yeah, we've had members from we've had members of Chicago. We've had members of Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang. We've had a whole bunch of really cool people, and I would love to like in my head, I would love to get Steve Perry. I'd like to get Steve Perry on the show. Like I'm a big Steve Perry fan. It's funny because the new Journey with the other guy, they actually contacted us to come on the show. But we didn't have him on because I had to give him all the questions, and we don't do that. You know, ours is just a conversation show. Wherever it goes, it goes. So I don't know what the questions are. I don't write down any questions. I just write down factual things, you know, to talk about. But then wherever the conversation goes. Yeah, we like to do it more like we're friends hanging out. So we didn't have them on because anybody who wants us to give them the questions up front, we can't do it because I don't have any.
It's too fake.
That's not real.
It's a fake show.
You just gave me an idea. Now I don't know if he's been on your show or not, but in keeping with you asking me about maybe idols or people I would like to share the stage with, my favorite singer of all time, bar none, is Lou Gramm.
Oh.
And I've actually been lucky enough to become kind of friendly with Lou. And I know his brother, Ben Graham, who's a drummer, excellent drummer, who he played with my brother with Edgar Winter for many years. And I'm sure that has Lou done your show?
No, he has not done the show. I know. I mean, has met him. I'd love to have him though. So see if he'd be interested. We'd love to have him.
I will reach out tomorrow and ask him. I'm sure I'll ask Bob, his manager. I'll bet anything he'll do it. He's a great guy, phenomenal guy. And to me, like Foreigner records, like Steely Dan records and what they are, Foreigner to me, pop rock production never got better. I mean,
one of the greatest like bands like ever lived. And I think that I love all that. Like, so I'm just a big anything that the rock from the 80s and the early 90s I really like. That's my favorite. And I like the 70s. I like a lot of the late 70s stuff. Like we've had Walter Egan on Magnet and Steel, and we had I don't know, we've had a whole bunch of over the years because the show, we're 17 years old. The show's 7. We've been doing this for 17 years.
That's great. I know you guys are very successful. I'm honored to be on. What about Roger Earl from Foghat? He's actually a very close friend of mine.
Oh, I've never had anybody from Foghat on.
They had a #1 record for like 30-something weeks on the blues chart, and I actually produced and edited the 5 videos from the album Sonic Mojo, which has done very, very well. Driving On, if you look at that video, it's a great video. And also, they were one of the first ones too to start incorporating a little AI in with their kind of a retro feel, and it's pretty cool. But Roger's a great guy.
Any of those big bands, we would love any of them. I remember like some of my favorites. Lita Ford was on. That was a good one. But we've had some really, really phenomenal, people. It's funny because you can't remember them when you're trying to remember them. But we have a list a mile long of like people. Normally, we primarily bring on musicians and actors that are well known. And every once in a while we bring on some other people. But I think it's all fun, and I think you've had a great career, and obviously you're a lot older than you look just from like when I was reading your bio of the thing you were doing all these things like in the 80s, which I wouldn't have even thought you were born in the 80s. So there you go. So you're 62. So I'm 60. So
I'm the age I was born.
Yeah, you go.
1962.
That's funny. I'm a 64 baby, and Ron's going to be 85 next week.
No way. Really? Are you kidding me? No.
85 next week.
We're both a little under the weather. I don't know.
God.
Like we both had knee surgeries,
Oh,
and
sorry.
like, and we're both.
And my pain medication is wearing off. So I'm getting
Positive energy your way, and God bless you both, and God bless your knees, and hopefully they heal, and all that's good. And I'm amazed, 85. Wow, I could
We have
never
2 minutes. We have 2 minutes left. Let's tell everybody what Indie Music TV is and where do they go to see it, since we didn't really talk about it.
Indie Music TV. It's been alive for 24/7 around the world for 13 years. It's INDIMUSIC.TV, no E, indiemusic.tv. It's 24/7 HD music videos. We have a top 21 chart. And if your video's good, upload it to the site for free. And if we like it, we play it.
There you go. I love it. That I like a lot. That's very cool. And I think that we should tell you that you need to get on TikTok and Instagram. You should get on TikTok and Instagram. I know you don't like social media, but if you're only going to do one, do TikTok, because you can put your music videos and all that stuff on there and it'll blow up. Like I've only been on TikTok like 8 or 9 months, and like I'm like blowing up on there. It's really cool. So
that's great. Sophia's on TikTok.
Oh, is she really?
She's been offered deals for perfume to be a spokesperson. She's got guys proposing to her.
Oh, who is she on TikTok?
Sophia.
Just Sophia? All right, I'm going to
look it up, Sophia. You'll see she's got 70, 80, 100,000 views on her videos. She hasn't posted anything since February, I think, or March, because she's been away, but she's coming back this month and she'll be posting again. So.
Oh yeah, make sure you post and tag me. This is Jimmy Star on everything. Tag me and I'll send it out, because I've got I have about 17 million plays on TikTok.
Oh my God, that's great. Well, listen, I really appreciate it. I'm probably the least famous person you've had on, but I do appreciate that.
Oh no, you're fantastic. You're fun. You laugh. You like to get along. We're happy you're from New York. He loves that.
And you're from Long Island.
You're from Long Island. He loves that. So all is good, you guys. This is Christopher Patty, Chris Patty. Check out Indie Music TV. Check out Sophia. Go to sophiamusic.com.
Correct, sir. Yep.
And check it out. And we want to thank you for coming on the show. Yep. And anytime
you have, pleasure.
We'll bring you back when you have new stuff to promote. So let us know, and we'll be in touch.
Sounds great. And I'll turn you on to some people for the show too. God bless you, Ron. Take care of yourself. Hope you feel better. And Jimmy, thank you both. It was an honor to be on. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.
Jimmy, this is MC Alfred and Ozzy Star. I'm just chilling, Jimmy Star, yo, sitting down and designing. Where every man in thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a little lyrical MC. You can't test me, big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your one I wanna be. Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out.